Yo, 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 it's your boy Dell with OPP. We got two brothers who are big on community. We want to shout out Rising Leaders.
N'Namdee Nelson, Executive Director, Rising Leaders Global.
And Hamzah, Hamid, sidekick.
Been running for about 20 years now.
Right. We started officially in 2008.
Okay.
But we probably started to work back in 2000.
Okay.
So BAM is our youth career entrepreneurship program, working with young adults, and all our programs work with young adults ages 6 to 21. We do skateboarding every Saturday, Stockton Park. If you're from Camden, East Camden, from 10 to 11, and the Village Initiative, led by our police department, which is every Friday. Like H said, we'll be leaving here to stop past there.
I had Miss Vida on the pod, who we all know what her perspective is. So, but I would like to also give that other take on Victor Carstarphen and what he's meant to the city.
The mayor does about 16 city cleanups, each year, and he's done it since he started, where he picks a park, picks an area of the city, he brings community out, he brings businesses out, corporations. It's a big networking opportunity, but why are we cleaning up the city? He forces people to get involved. Now, people that don't join, that's on them. People can sit behind the camera, sit on Facebook, social media, but this is the unfortunate part. It's rare that we see a lot of community members out there.
Yo, 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 it's your boy Dell with OPP, and we got some special guests. Well, first, before I introduce them, I want to say we got two brothers who are big on community, mentorship, and, just big on just helping, providing resources, no matter what you need, toys, backpacks, anything, you know what I mean? We want to shout out Rising Leaders, and I actually want to start off, you guys can introduce yourselves.
All right. Go ahead now.
N'Namdee Nelson, Executive Director, Rising Leaders Global.
Okay.
And Hamzah, Hamid.
Okay.
Sidekick.
I appreciate y'all coming out here, just taking the time. I appreciate y'all inviting me out to the tour drive.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, I was unable to make the Millennium Skating Ring, and I apologize about that. I wish I could have been there. Had some family issues, but when I saw at the toy drive, you guys are like really doing big things and helping out a lot of families, and that's really big.
Yeah.
So we talk about Rising Leaders. You guys been running for about 20 years now.
Right.
Can you talk about that journey and how that started?
Sure. So we started officially in 2008.
Okay.
But we probably started to work back in 2000.
Okay.
So being from Camden City, seeing some of the needs, dealing with a lot of our youth in our individual lanes, myself, Brother Hamzah, and other like-minded individuals, actually men that we connected with, felt like it would be a good thing to be that example. Be that example for our boys. We just started, serving young men. And as we continued, we incorporated females as well. But just looking for, more positivity for our kids. Now, they talk about trauma-informed care. At the time, people was just saying our kids was bad. They weren't looking at it like, we was dealing with trauma. So, realizing that, we was lacking that positive role model, that male positive role model.
Yeah.
We felt like, that was our obligation.
When you say trauma, can you elaborate more on trauma and how that can impact a youth and decision-making and behaviors?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of different forms of trauma, but if we look at our urban areas like Camden, Trenton, Newark, things that aren't really normal, right? So, gunshots, sirens, drugs on every other corner, missing one of the parent figures in the home, kids having to be the people that's bringing in the money and paying the bills. So, how can you go to school and focus on grades and education if you got to figure out how to feed your brothers and sisters as well as yourself? So, there's a lot of different forms of trauma that we dealing with, and this becomes our norm because this is what we used to. This is what our kids are used to, and kids grow into adults. So there's so many different forms of trauma, but these are the things that we're dealing with in our urban areas.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about mentorship, what approaches do you guys take towards mentorship?
I mean, Hamzah, I don't know if you want to answer that.
No, go ahead.
Sure. So, I mean, I think the biggest thing, right, because, you hear different types of mentoring programs, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of times mentoring programs don't come into the urban area, right? Mm-hmm. But, relationship building, first and foremost is key, right? You could sit here and, try to help somebody or, say what you're going to do. But if we don't have relationships with our young adults, then we can't help, we can't assist. And that's one of the greatest things about Rising Leaders. It was about 6 or 7 black men that started and was part of the organization from the beginning. And everybody had a different walk of life. We had some people who had lost their parents. You had some people that went to college. You had some people that went to jail. You had some people that, had a high school diploma. You had some people that was in the music industry. Some people that like video games, sports. So having somebody that you could look at and relate to, was the biggest thing. So I think first and foremost is, being able to identify connection and then establishing relationships. Mm-hmm. And also not assuming that, somebody else's problem. Mm-hmm. So I think that's first and foremost, not picking up a young adult and taking them to run your errands or, we going to stop past the mall, but really finding out, who, an individual is and allowing them to find the same thing out about you. Finding out, likes and dislikes, mm-hmm. and then figuring out what the problems are. And I mean, when we build these relationships, our young adults start sharing. And when they understand that you're real and you're there because you really care and not just for the money, because the majority of the things that we did starting off was for free. Mm-hmm. It was out of pocket. Mm-hmm. And we did our own fundraising, the last couple years.
What type of fundraisers did y'all do?
I mean, fish fries, bowling events.
We would have been there at the fish fry, for real.
Raffles, coming out of pocket.
Mm-hmm. Raffling off 4-wheelers, dirt bikes.
I'm talking about for the first, 15 to 17 years, mm-hmm. It was out of pocket. People think what they see right now is if we just started. But, the things you see right now is from, 20 plus years of work and consistency.
Mm-hmm. What is the organizational structure of Rising Leaders, if you can go into that?
Sure. I mean, you have your executive director and, again, titles for me is just that, right? Because everybody in our organization plays a major role, yeah. Right? So you got executive director, you got assistant directors, you got team leads, we have our mentors, we have our therapists. So we have a host of, different positions, but from the top to the bottom, it's not one position that's more important than the next. And, the fact that we got so many people that care, so many people that have their own personal experiences, and the fact that we started from scratch, we started, mm-hmm. As a grassroots organization and, it didn't involve money. The people that's involved are there because they really care. Mm-hmm. And the majority of the people that started are people that's still there. You know what I mean? So that's the beauty of this. We don't really lose, people. You know what I mean? When you come and you join Rising Leaders, you become a part of the family.
How hard was it to get people to join a part of the organization, building your team?
So it's been a journey, right? Okay. So the core group that started it, we was friends. We had something in common, and it was something that we really wanted to do, which is challenging, right? Because when I say, money's not involved, things you want to do voluntarily, and then you also got to take care of your family, it becomes difficult. But when we first started, we had our core group. Now, trying to get people involved that wasn't part of that group was a challenge, right? Inviting people out. And again, we was just trying to get people to, whether you had an organization of your own, whether you was interested in, trying to give back, we was just trying to bring people to the table. And again, we could talk about it a little later, but it was a journey, and we didn't understand at the time why it was so challenging. So now in the day, 20 plus years later, you know, we understand it. And I think we got the answer.
Okay.
I think we got the answer.
You know, I'm going to talk about, you know, you talk about funding and getting funding. You know, how hard is it to get funding? Is it still hard for you to get funding for what you guys are doing? Because you guys are doing a lot of big things.
Right. So it's real challenging, you know, and you think grassroots organizations, nonprofit, when we started this, we just had worked for nonprofits. So we didn't know any of the background. You know, myself and Brother Hamzah, we went up to Trenton and said, hey, we want to start a nonprofit, and we just completed the paperwork. We didn't know anything about the 501c3 that went with it. You know, we came back to the city and found out we need a 501c3 in order to, you know, get donations. So then we went to a spot called Legal Services, and, you know, they completed the paperwork for us. And that was even a journey because, you know, one thing that you learn is ignorance isn't an excuse.
Right.
So you got to keep up on, you know, the laws and the rules and what, you know, and things change. And so, you know, we even had a time where we lost and had to get it back because when we first started, if you made $25,000 or less, you didn't have to file taxes. We wasn't making any money. I think back in 2014, the law changed and said regardless whether you was making money or not, you had to file. So we didn't know that. Nobody told us that. You know, but it's
no status.
It's been an experience, right? But, you know, your question was how hard is it to get funding? Nobody wants to give you money unless you have money already. And it's crazy. Like, I understand it, but it's like, how do you get started as a grassroots nonprofit if you don't have anything of your own, right? Like, most people started for that reason.
So you'll go to organizations, ask for funding or donations, and what do they ask? How much capital, what you have already?
Because people want to see that their money is not going to go to waste. They want to know already that, you know, you can handle the type of money that they're getting ready to give. So even when we first started getting funding a few years back, you know, it might have been, you know, 1,000, 1,500, you know, maybe the biggest was 5,000. But anything outside of that, you know, a person is not just going to, you know, waste their time and, you know, take a chance on their funding. And then, you know, as we learn, there's a lot that come with that, right? You know, people think, you know, more money is better, but more money is more responsibilities and more problems and, you know, a lot of learning, right? Money management. And these are all things that we had to learn firsthand. And the unfortunate part, yet fortunate, is that we didn't have anybody to show us. We was knocking on doors. We was calling. We was trying to get people that look like us to help us.
Wow.
And we either, you know, meetings was getting canceled, doors was getting closed. And I think something that, you know, resonates the most, but is a memory that I know I'll never forget, and I believe, you know, H will never forget neither.
You already know it.
I won't name the organization, right? But
why not?
You know, I'm gonna just hold off, right? I'm not gonna name the organization, but
them old heads need to get it.
It's an organization that they sent us to, right? And this was a known organization in the city of Camden. Unfortunately, the person who started it had passed away. But we went in there and we went to get some guidance. And when we sat down, he talked to us like we was nobody. The person who the director and assistant director told us how they had their bachelor's degrees from Rutgers, right? And how we couldn't be nobody because they never heard of rising leaders, right? You know, we hadn't even had an opportunity to present the resume. Right? So you talked to us like we was somebody from off the street. You didn't tell us how you could help us. You didn't ask us questions. You just told us about yourself. And again, how we couldn't be nobody.
And then you had your master's.
At the time, I had my master's.
Yeah, from the same college they had a bachelor's.
And they had a bachelor's, but you talked down to us. So I think for the average, it would have been like, damn, you know what? I'm trying to help. And I'm getting so much rejection. It's not for me.
Yeah.
But for us, even though it was disappointing, it was also motivation.
That's something though. And they just looked at y'all and they just assumed just based on how you looked or anything. But they realized you were more educated than them.
Every door most doors that was closed on us was from our own folks.
Yo, that's usually how.
And mainly the black men. The black women, oh man, they, what can we do? How can we help? Blah, 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 blah. The black men, it's like a threat from the door, like, nah, we don't want these guys in here because they moving a little better than us. They getting more respect than us. They liked more than us. So from there, it was just like that. That was one of the most crazy things to me.
And how you handle that now?
Now I don't care, me personally, because it's like it's documented now. It's like now we that. So it's like,
I just wonder, like, when you walk past and you see people that didn't think, like, what goes through your mind?
I got a good leader here that be like, bro, it come with time. When I was younger, I ain't have no patience for them or no love for them. Even now I'm like, yeah, let's say their name, because I'm talking about, it's kids' lives on the line. It's adults' lives on the line. It's people's lives on the line, and we playing gatekeeping and restricting and withholding people from, growing. To help people, yeah. But now it's like, I try my best to show those people love and let them see, like, because we got cats damn near our age that we done worked with. I got cats in their 40s that's like my people I was mentoring. You get where I'm coming from? So now it's just like, I try to deal with them with love, respect, and really we just so focused on what we doing that don't even really like cross my mind.
Energy's important.
Yeah.
Energy's important. Just keep it positive and keep it pushing. You spoke on mentoring and what you were doing. You want to share, like, what's maybe the most impactful scenario that you probably had with someone that you were mentoring? Something that really stuck out.
Man, it's so many, but I guess it's a couple layers.
You give me a couple more than one.
I guess it's like when you see that moment with a younger person where they get it, from the efforts you making, like when you see that they get it and their behaviors is changing and they doing the things that we want them to do, but they doing it because they want to. That's one. And then two, when I see cats that's, like I said, in their 30s and 40s, and they either like, working real, like have a real good place in employment or doing programming or, cats in the league, and I guess it's those kind of things. When you see
self-fulfilling.
Yeah, when you see like cats that really like took heed to it, or like for me, I think when I'm outside and I see cats, rather they doing excellent or not, when they be like, yo, this brother here, bro, he been, since we was young boys and da-da-da-da, like that right there, that's what mean a lot, because I'm safe. You know what I mean? I'm still relevant, and, it makes you feel good that, you might have forgot a person, being realistic. We work with so many young people that when you see somebody and they remember you and they show you love and they show you respect, that's what mean the most.
You guys have a lot of support from the mayor. I got to bring this up. I got to get a different perspective on the mayor for the first time. I had Miss Vida on the pod, who we all know what her perspective is. So, I would like to, I don't take sides or anything like that. I just report the media.
Journalism.
But I would like to also give that other take on Victor Carstarphen and what he's meant to the city. You guys, we've talked and made statements like there hasn't been any other mayor like him. Can you guys elaborate on that?
Sure. So, everybody has their perspective, right? For me, actions speak louder than words. Anytime that, we putting one another down, especially in public, is an issue and a problem for me, period. Social media, is a great tool, but I feel like the way we use it, we misuse it, right? And it's our ignorance. So we're going to handle issues and problems behind closed doors is what makes sense to me. But actions speak louder than words. So, I consider our Mayor Victor Carstarphen not just our mayor, but also a friend. Somebody who I personally had the opportunity to build and establish a relationship with over the past 5 years. So, Mayor Victor Carstarphen previously was known, for basketball and his basketball career, even though he's done other things such as, tutoring programs and, some other things as far as, being an agent and, having different people that, they would oversee. seeing a person who wasn't a politician, who just was a servant, come in and learn and be there for the people, right? I feel like, politics wasn't a thing, that I ever, I said I would never be involved in, right? Like politics isn't for me until I realized politics was in everything. And it was a sacrifice that I had to make. So I even tried to get people that was around me to get involved, so that I didn't have to do it. And, what I realized was that, God was calling me to do it, right? Politics runs everything, every aspect of the world, whether that's illegal, legal, everything falls under that political umbrella. And I don't say that to say I know everything, but I've learned some things over the past several years.
No, it's law.
But with that being said, to see a mayor that's out there picking up trash, see a mayor that's out there not just showing up for the photo ops. It don't matter if it's election time, not election time, if it's hot, if it's cold, the mayor is present. The mayor does about 16 city cleanups, each year, and he's done it since he started, where he picks a park, picks an area of the city, he brings community out, he brings businesses out, corporations. It's a big networking opportunity, but why are we cleaning up the city? He forces people to get involved. Now, people that don't join, that's on them. People can sit behind the camera, sit on Facebook, social media, but this is the unfortunate part. It's rare that we see a lot of community members out there. We see a bunch of corporations and organizations and people that's coming out to clean up our city. But we not willing to clean up our own city. Why? Because what? We don't like the mayor, we don't like this person, or if it's right, it's right. And I just said the cleaning up piece. Go ahead, H. I got several other things.
So, right now, because, when he said something, it touched me. Pause. He, when he was saying, like, about people, not coming out and not getting involved, right? So, if we use, because we could be the people that say something negative about Mayor Carstarphen, right? If we use past history of other mayors, actions or reflections or interactions we had with them, and not actually going and seeing, where he was at with it. Because if we just took it like how all the other mayors treated us, or in overall the people in the city, you might be like, yeah, you might have that negative feedback for the mayor, Victor Carstarphen now. But when you go and you kick it and you see what's going on, you see that this ain't what it was in the past. You know what I mean? So I understand sometimes when people act like that, because universally in our community and communities like ours, that's how really it is. We just like use for like numbers, this, that, data, if you pay attention in the urban community, that's where they do all the research at. You know what I mean? But if you took the time to go see what this man and his staff is about, you'll see like it's something different. You know what I mean? It was times we couldn't even like.
It's a lot more energy.
You couldn't even get like a conversation with one of the mayors. To now going to a point where you can communicate with the mayor, share ideas with him, get information, suggestions, and things that we could do to like collaborate and do more for our city. You know what I mean? I just wanted to tap on that because when people use what they're doing and what they're saying, I think they're doing it from past experiences, what's been going on in our city for 30 plus years, not what's actually happening now.
I think, real quick, I think also people have to realize, when you're a leader and you're leading something, every facet is not going to be perfect. Exactly. It's going to be something that's weak that you got to work on. And that doesn't make you terrible as a whole. You just, you just weaken that department. You know what I mean? And figure that out. But just go ahead.
And again, a couple other things, and H spoke about it, creating opportunities, right? Whether that be the grassroots organizations, whether that's someone, who may not have started off on the right path. A lot of times, people don't get a second opportunity. So having a mayor who's willing to work with anybody that's trying to do the right things right now is a beautiful thing. Like, I see some of the people that's on my live right now that, our mayor works with and assists. That's part of our team. And here's the thing. It don't matter who says what. He's willing to work with everybody. Not just that, somebody who also wants to help create opportunities for sustainability. Like, you get a lot of people that complain, but you complain if you're not involved.
Right.
And if you're not coming out trying to figure out what your role is, because the mayor is one individual with a title. That's just like the president, right? It's other people that got to play a role and play a part. You got to figure out what your part is. What part are you playing? All the people that talk about what's wrong and the thing, what are you doing?
Right.
Most people not out here doing work. Yeah. And I don't mean having an event here and there. I'm talking about every day you got to be out here doing the work. Every day. So again, you asked the question about, the mayor, somebody who's present, somebody who's helping to create opportunities for the people that live in the city. We talk about, this is not for, the people that's here and the waterfront, but you got somebody that's trying to create opportunities for people that live here, right? But you can't see that unless you get out and get involved. And to your point, everything is not perfect.
Right.
The mayor don't control every single thing. You know what I mean? He got other arms, but you got to get out. You got to get involved. You got to play your part. You got to play your role. And somebody that's understanding.
It's
somebody that's accessible.
It's a sickness we have as a people, bro. For the most part, I believe in the black community, our people really got a sickness. You know how you said, when you came to the the Buff Hall event, it was a beautiful thing. It was nice. The night before we had the joint, and it was 120 something volunteers.
120 volunteers.
About, I don't know, probably how many families you think we serviced?
So that night, 600, because we shut the doors. That was capacity.
Okay, so
that night.
Real quick, the sickness I'm talking about that relates to, in the essence, with the mayor and everything like that is a female DM me. She put a video up with a picture of me and was like, "Oh, Camden, we gotta do better." You know what I mean? Them Dollar General toys and blah. When Saul came through, she was out. So I hit her about, I said, "Well, listen, if you want to do something, link with us. Let's make it better. Let's do more." You know what I mean? Because it was a time we was like trying to give tickets away to get people to come. Now we gotta, like the brother just said, we gotta stop people from coming.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, nah, my bad. I didn't know you, but you know what I mean? So if you ain't know me, why you put my picture, right? And why you put something derogatory trying to attach it to me and the mission that we just completed? If you get where I'm coming from? So it's like a sickness we got in our community that, hopefully, people get this medicine.
And that sickness is that envy, that jealousy, that hate. Like, that's the sickness.
It's not all competition.
Our slogan is I'm not your competition.
Your competition is the slogan. And, actually, we changing that to you're not my competition.
Yeah.
Because, unfortunately, most people think you are their competition.
Right.
There's nothing out here that I look at somebody else doing and I'm competing against them. Our lane is our lane. You can never be better at being us. Just like we can never be better at being you.
That's real. You talked about non-competing, and that's very true. You guys don't compete with anybody else because you guys also collaborate with other nonprofits in the city. Can you talk about some of those collaborations?
Yeah, so the collaboration is big. I think we have, and we had, a handful of organizations in the city that, have been doing good work, right? Everybody that's out there working or say they working may not be working. But we had, organizations that have been doing work, but we just wasn't doing it together. Maybe some people were, but I think right now, one of the most powerful things that we have going on in Camden City is the collective efforts. I don't want to miss no organizations, so I don't want to start naming them, but we have at least about 10 to 12 organizations that work together on a regular basis. Everybody has something going on in their own lane, and everybody show up for each other. So if Mighty Writers got something going on today, everybody that can make it is showing up for Mighty Writers, which is Derek. If Boss got something going on, everybody's showing up for them. If Creative Connection got something going on, if Meet the Browns got something going on, if Daylight got something going on, and whoever else, everybody's showing up. And the thing is, we used to do this, and let's say we had 100 people come out, right? We got 100 people that come out. We got to foot the bill for everything. We got to do all the legwork. We got to knock on doors. We got to advertise. We got to come early. We got to stay to the end. Now, when you got a group of people and everybody in our group is workers, everybody takes a part.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a responsibility. Yeah. So it makes your job that much easier.
Open gym going on right now.
We got a program called Open Gym where we collaborate with the police department, Camden County Metro Police. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Captain Coley for her leadership, the chief, everybody that plays a role in that. But again, it goes back to the collaboration. And this started with relationship building because we all knew each other. Mm-hmm. But when we sat down and we just really got to know one another and had respect for each other and for what was going on, the connection was on a different level. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, we got to do our own thing to understand the importance of doing it together. Mm-hmm. So, again, we talked about grassroots organizations. But again, this is under the leadership of our mayor, Victor Carstarphen, because I shout him out all the time. It don't even matter. Like, we part of his team.
Right.
So we fall under his umbrella. This his team. Wow. You know, we go with him. But with the mayor, you got the police department. Mm-hmm. You got DPW. Like, these all our partners. Like, this is how we get things done. People need, you know, to clean up in the community, this down. Right. We making calls. And this is what our mayor gave us, access. It may seem like something small to somebody who doesn't think is important, but when that person reaches out because they need the grass cut across the street, or somebody just reached out, you know, the pole fell down. Again, you may not always be able to get somebody that quick on the line when you call on the 757 number. So to have somebody's direct access, or somebody got an issue and you can reach out to the police department who coming out to help the seniors.
You know, that's a community. You're supposed to be able to go to your neighbor.
And that's what I'm saying. How can anybody in our community not be elated about this? Mm-hmm. And it's being done with us. Mama, ex-con. Yeah. I mean, you get where I'm coming from?
I still grew up in that area where you can go next door and ask for, you know, a carton of eggs or 2 eggs or something like that.
I just said this earlier. You know, crazy, somebody once told me, if you enslaved for 10 years, it takes 20 years to undo. So when we've been brainwashed or our mindsets, you know, have been set a certain way, it don't just change overnight. And, you know, I think you asked the question, you know, how do we do this? Like, how do you deal with the disappointment? And this wasn't your exact words. Yeah. But I think understanding the situation, and a lot of times you understand that it don't make sense. Some things just don't make sense to you.
Right.
It may make sense to you. It may make sense to you. It's different, right? Mm-hmm. So when you understand it don't make sense, you got to follow what you believe, right? Mm-hmm. We all know right from wrong. So, and none of us is perfect. That's the other thing. When we understand and we get out our own way, and when I listen to people bash other people, most of the time the people that's bashing, they got 1,000 things going on with themselves. So you also understand that envy and hate in most cases isn't about you. It's about the individual themselves. That's just how we give it off. You upset, you mad, and you bothered with yourself.
Right.
And instead of working on yourself, you pointing out the flaws in somebody else. Or you upset and you bothered because you not them. Or you not doing what they doing. Or you don't have what they have or what you think they have. So you upset. I don't worry about nobody that's not involved in what we doing. So the other thing is we got to lead by example.
Right.
Speaking of lead by example, I want to ask you this, though. So you guys have been running for 20 years. I'm pretty sure the way that you have to probably service the youth has to be completely different from how you serviced the youth earlier. Can you explain like that gap or that difference? I'm sure there's different approaches where you have like environmental factors going on, social media, you know what I mean? All of that plays a part in how you service that demographic.
Right. So is a difference, but some of the things remain the same. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, this is our career. This is what we do. Like, this is our field, social services. So, you know, group homes and, you know, mentoring. And so it's not just our organization, but we've had a lot of time to spend with our young adults, right? Yeah. And when society changes things that work, right, and is by design, we see what we see right now. So we see a bunch of confusion, right? We can't hold our kids accountable. who's the known leaders of the day? Back in the day, we had known leaders, Malcolms, Martins, but those known leaders are the same people that we talking about today, right? We don't know today's known leaders. You may have a leader in your community, so society is the known leaders, right? Society is what's put in place to guide our young adults, our communities. So we have to change, but some things we have to keep the same, and some things our elders did well, and some things they didn't do well. I know I had great parents, so I don't have any gripes about them. But our elders didn't pass the torch. They didn't pass the baton, right? They didn't teach us how to do the things they were doing. When we start showing that gray, a lot of our young adults can't connect the same way.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we have to do right now is work with our younger adults to be the ones that connect with
Take
our youth.
Spot. Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things, because we getting older. So just like when we was kids, it's like you don't think your parents know better, or they don't understand what you going through, even though they already been there. It's the same thing with our kids, right? And so that's one thing, making sure that we put in younger adults in position to be able to connect the way we were able to connect.
Right.
The other thing is
making other leaders.
Yeah.
Making other leaders.
it's called rising leaders. People think like, we want you to fall under this umbrella. The objective is to help people rise.
Yeah, that's it.
Rising leaders. The other thing is understanding what society is putting out so you can combat it with that. A lot of times we show different things, and it's not to say, look what we did. Like, I might be in a Rolls Royce, I might be but it's for our kids, right? They relate to materialistic things. They relate to Gucci and Prada and this, that. So if you don't have those things, then they not listening. If you don't have money, or they don't think you have money, because this is what society put out there as what's important, what success is, then they not listening, as well as the adults. So again, we got to have the means to appear to have what society puts out there so people can hear what we saying.
I was just thinking earlier, when Jay-Z was talking about all these other rappers and different things were broke. I was like, he was giving us jewels because we didn't realize, they was really broke. Like, we've been out in a lot of different spots, and we see a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of people faking the funk.
That's right.
Putting on the show, drawing those illusions.
Yeah.
And youth
illusions.
And youth is killing each other over illusions and social media beefs. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. Any closing statements? How can they donate? How can they find you? You guys have a website or anything?
Sure. Before I give that, every time we get an opportunity to get in front of people, one, I just encourage people to get involved. Wherever you at, it don't gotta be rising leaders, but wherever you at in your community, get involved. Like, play your part. Like, it's your responsibility, it's your obligation to do something. It don't matter how small it is, how big it is. It's something that you could bring to the table. It could be some feedback. It could be some advice. It could be finances. People don't always have finances. It could be 20 minutes. It could be an hour. Yeah. I encourage people to get involved. Again, Rising Leaders Global is a mentoring organization. Our kids need mentoring. Our adults need mentoring. Just get involved. To your question, our website is www.risingleaders, the whole word, RISINGLEADERS, the number 1, WordPress.com. We'll be getting ready to change that as well. We also on Instagram as Rising Leaders Global, also on Facebook as Rising Leaders Global, and we also run a skateboarding program. I know earlier, we spoke briefly about programming. I don't know if we want to speak about programs that we offer, but please. We also have Rising Leaders Skate Club. So just quickly, some of the programs that we operate right now is our Youth Career Entrepreneurship Program, working with young adults, and all our programs work with young adults ages 6 to 21. Okay. Our skateboarding program, we might start at 2 or 3 year olds. We do skateboarding every Saturday. Stockton Park. If you're from Camden, East Camden, from 10 to 11, all our programs are free. We also run a program called Fostering Youth to Independence for 18 to 24-year-olds in partnership with the state and who's that? CPAC, helping them find housing and teaching them life skills. Okay. We also run a program called Not in Our Parks in partnership with other grassroots organizations, police department, DPW, where we employ young adults throughout the summer working in the parks. So they keep the parks clean, they play as kids, and they get paid. We also participate in the Village Initiative led by our police department, which is every Friday. Like H said, we'll be leaving here to stop past there, where they rotate to a different gym in the community. But it's not just basketball. Okay. It's board games, it's crafts, it's free food, it's adult mentors, it's free haircuts. And again, I say free, but everything costs, right? So somebody got to pay. But again, shout out to Meet the Browns that donate time, that donate haircuts. When we able to get grant funding and we have support. But these are things that we do on a regular, whether it's money or whether it's not. And then we do a host of community service projects. Everything we do, and you'll hear me mention this multiple times, is in partnership with our mayor and the city, because again, a lot of these things we couldn't do without that partnership to the magnitude that we do it now. Yeah. Even though we started off doing these things, it was on a smaller scale. And again, shout out to all the grassroots organizations that we work with, all our partners. We appreciate you. Shout out to everybody that's doing work.
And where you want to send that money to is?
Rising Leaders Global, the website, PayPal, and then when you go to the website is an address. Yeah. But again, shout out to all those that's doing work. We appreciate you.
Send that bread. For real. Y'all already know the work we put in, so talking it right there. Y'all know the work we put in. Y'all know how much respect we have and how much love we have for our community and our youth. And, we appreciate Opposing Perspective podcast, man. See, Del, it's been a pleasure since day one, brother, for real. Appreciate your time, your energy, getting us out here, putting us in the world, throwing us in the algorithm,
Nah, most definitely.
Sons of Sin and everything else that's going on, it's a lot of powerful things going on in the city, man. I'm proud, to be a part of it and what you're doing as a younger dude, what I'm saying?
I appreciate y'all as well, man. Thank you. Well, that wraps up Opposing Perspective podcast. I'm your host, Sadell. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and IG, and TikTok. Make sure y'all like and subscribe and tune in. Appreciate y'all.
Peace.